Howdy there neighbors, Ian with eTrailer here. Today we're going to be looking at the Solera Slide-Out RV Awning on our 2019 Coachman Apex. Let's get into a few features and then the installation. The main reason you're going to be picking an awning is for that protection over your slide out. Sometimes once you're in a more wooded area, or even if there's just a good amount of wind, it's going to bring that dirt and debris up to the top here. And I'll show you where that normally would live without the cover. So this area here is where all that's going to collect up. Even just something as simple as a leaf will affect the seal that's going to be up against the slide out, allowing any water to get into your camper, thus creating mold. So this awning is going to give you a good amount of protection and help prevent those issues that may arise from any type of water getting into your vehicle or any damage to the seals around the slide out. So this is a nice 36 denier nylon fabric that we've got on here. So it is going to hold up. We've seen a lot of reviews a couple years into it and no issues as far as what I was able to find in those reviews. So great fabric and meant to really last, it seems like. So wonderful selection if you're trying to keep all that dust and debris off the top of the slide out here. While we're talking about the installation of it, it is a pretty easy process. You are going to need a few ladders and a couple extra set of hands just to help get the roll up there and everything started as far as getting the vinyl into the channel. But other than that, it's not too bad. I believe a couple hours at most to get this completed and all squared away. So let's go ahead and hop into that installation and we'll start talking about this rail up here first. To begin our installation, normally we'd put up the rail that's going to hold the fabric in place above our slide out here. This one's already equipped with it, but I did want to touch base on how you would get your measurements as far as this top rail if you needed to. The T-molding on your slide out is going to be about 2 to 3 inches away from the edge of the slide out when it comes out. So we're going to factor that in. We want about a 3-inch overhang on each side. So we would just factor that into where we would cut the rail. Ours is already set up here to where we don't need to do that. But there is a set of pan head screws that is intended for these. There's 2 different hardwares, and the pan head is what would hold up this top rail. While we're talking about the placement of our top rail, we've got this sitting just right under the gutter the whole length of the slide, again with that 3-inch overhang. When you're installing that, you'll want to make sure not only that it's level, but you're sealing that with some butyl tape behind that. We'll be doing that with the brackets down lower in just a moment, but we do want to make sure that all of our points that we're punching through the actual camper are sealed. Now we're going to take the extension rod and put that here in the oval slot for the end cap, and then there will be a pan head with Phillips screw type on the top, and we'll add that to the provided hole in the end cap here. Then we're going to repeat on the other side as well. Now we'll want to prep our brackets here. These are going to be going up on the slide out, and they will be oriented with this V channel pointing up. But we do want to make sure we get some butyl tape on the back of those, again, just so those get sealed and don't cause any leaks. And we're going to allow the butyl tape to kind of hold that in place. Of course, we want to go as level as possible, getting up into the corner of the edge of the slide out here. And we're going to be using these flathead type screws. They are conical, so they're going to sit flush in there and allow us to get that slide plate over the top of this and just give it a little bit better finish. So we'll go ahead and start all those by hand and then run them down with the drill. We're just about ready to get the fabric into the upper bracket here and put the roller in place, but we need to come up to the corner of our top bracket, and where we'll be feeding in the fabric, we want to bend those tabs and corners away so they don't catch, and there's not any spot where it could damage the cover as we're going in. Now we're going to take the roll and the fabric, at least get one good unroll, because we're going to want these bars that are down below sitting towards these brackets on the slide out. And then we're going to take the leading edge here that's got the little piece of plastic sticking out of the fabric, and we're going to feed that into the channel where we bent the tabs up, and just kind of slowly work that in, paying good attention to those edges, making sure we don't catch on anything as we go across. And this will take 2 or 3 people possibly to get this fed through. Now we're going to take our brackets and lift this up again with our rod down towards the bottom. We're going to go for the bottom channels. There are separate channels that will allow you to kind of select a height, but we're going to go for the tallest one for now just to get an idea of where this will want to sit. And you'll have to slide that onto the end of the extension rod and then line up the channels. And with those brackets in place, we want to look at the edge of the T-molding here and kind of see how much fabric is coming off of each side, get an accurate measurement as far as even spacing for each edge of the end of the roll here. Now we're ready to put in the set screws for this bracket. They're just going to be little number 3 set screws that you'll need an Allen key for, and we're going to be putting them in the bottom holes here. There is a set of 4 that line up with each rail depending on where you had to put that to get the proper clearance. For us, it lines up with the bottom one since we put it at its highest position. And we'll just get those 2 set into that nice and snug. Now with all those brackets in place, we're going to insert the set screws that come with that. It's just a number 3 set screw, Allen headed there. And then once we've got those all snugged down, there's a plastic cover that we'll need to go over those. We'll slide that plastic cover over. It can be a little tricky to get on there, so you may need a dead blow or just a light hammer to tap that into place. Now we're going to be adding our 10mm self-tappers to our extension rods. There's 2 pre-drilled holes. We'll just want to make sure that, again, we're centered and that we've got an appropriate measurement from the edge of our T-molding and the edge of our fabric, and even on both sides. We'll just go ahead and run those down. Now before we put in the last couple screws, we do want to roll this in and out a few times, make sure it's going in the proper way. To release the spool here, we will need to pull these pins that are set in the end. Of course, you want to hold on to that real tight because it is going to try to spool up and go tight on you as soon as your second pin is out. I've already got the one on the other end out, and then we'll just allow that to rest. Once you get those pins removed, you are going to want to hang on to these. These are going to allow you in the future, if you need to do any type of service on the awning, to lock that back into the rolled up position. Now we're going to roll this out a couple times and bring it back in, just double checking that it is coming back evenly and that there aren't any spots where we're having overlap or any issues like that. So we'll just have somebody run that from inside and go ahead and bring that out. You may find that going in and out, you'll end up with a couple wrinkles, maybe in the center or on the edges here. What we'll need to do is in the extrusion rail, we'll just give this a good twist back so that it gives us some slack to work with. And then if we need to, we can either push that in further or have it slide back out one way or the other to work on getting these wrinkles out. It may take 2 or 3 times to get that perfect right where you want it, but just take your time and kind of figure out what's going to work best as far as getting those center wrinkles out as well. With all the wrinkles worked out of that and everything set into place, we're going to go ahead and take our final set screws, just these teeny tiny little guys, come in about 1 inch to 1.5 inches on the fabric in this top rail, and we'll just work those into place here, of course being extremely careful because we are right next to the fabric. And we'll repeat that process on both ends with those set screws, but I did want to mention too, you'll want to come back and that part of the channel that we opened up to be able to feed the fabric in, we're going to close back up, just squeeze and close with a set of needle nose or just pliers to get that to where there's no sharp edges. And when you are drilling these down, you want to make sure you're going into the cord that is inside of that fabric leading edge as well. And that's going to do for our look at and the installation of the Solera RV Slide-Out Awning on our 2019 Coachman Apex. My name's Ian with eTrailer. Appreciate you watching.